Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you an Eldritch Nuke Fighter Wizard build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. This was a requested video and I'll be showing you a few different variations of this build, and we're going to always want to start as Fighter because this is going to give us heavy armor proficiency as well as Constitution saving throw proficiency, which is important for us because we want to hold concentration on our spells. So we also get a nice second wind bonus action heal starting off early, and we also get to pick the defense perk, which I think is the best here because it's going to give a +1 to our armor class, and we can wear heavy armor right from the get-go, so that's really nice. As for our ability scores, obviously intelligence is going to be a big one for us, so we want to take that up to 16 minimum. Having okay amounts of charisma and wisdom is alright, but we want to have a decent bit of dexterity as well as constitution and a decent bit of strength as well. We're not going to be attacking with our weapon as much as we would with other builds. We're mostly going to be casting. So this first level is going to be into the fighter just to give ourselves the heavy armor proficiency and constitution saving throw proficiency. And then we're going to take the next levels into the wizard just to be able to give ourselves some casting. Now, if you're starting from level 1, you can just go with the wizard, but this is going to be kind of your respec. Now, we get Action Surge at level 2, which is nice for burst damage, but I'm actually going to switch into the Wizard now, and we're going to give ourselves all these spells. So, Ray of Frost and Shocking Grasp are two really nice ones. Shocking Grasp makes it so that targets can't use reaction, so you can Shocking Grasp and run away if you need to. Ray of Frost has some nice synergy, which I'll show you at the end of this video. And then for our next one, I like Mage Hand or Minor Illusion, but you can go with one of your other favorites, and Friends is nice if you're the face of the party. I'm going to go with Minor Illusion, though, because it's really great for dropping fireballs on people. Now, for our spell slot selection, I think that Shield is makes the most sense here. So, whenever you're about to be hit by the enemy, increase your armor class by 5. That's huge for survivability. So, even just with 2 levels, we already got a massive amount of survivability between these two. Magic Missile for the guaranteed damage is really nice, dealing force damage. I also like Thunderwave to push people off of cliffs. Find Familiar is awesome. Being able to summon in like a Raven to go blind targets is awesome early in the game. Chromatic Orb if you want to choose a different damage type, because this can be changed to whatever damage type you'd like. Grease is also really nice. It makes creatures fall prone, but Fog Cloud's another awesome choice too, because you can heavily obscure an area and kind of hide in it if you want to, or you can have your other teammates hide in it. And for our prepared spells, I think that these work best. So you can swap one of these out if you want, but I think that's a pretty good choice there. At Wizard level 2, we get to choose our subclass. There's a few that make sense. The Evocation Wizard is nice because you can sculpt your spells, allowing them to not hit teammates. You also can add your intelligence modifier to the damage later on. Necromancy is great because it gives you the ability to do Grim Harvest, which allows you to heal from your spells, which is really nice, and 3 times as much if they're wizard spells. Conjuration doesn't really fit the theming of here, so pick one of these 3 here. I'm going to go with Abjuration because this gives a huge boost to our defense. Even further, we already got Heavy Armor Shield, and now we got the Arcane Ward, which the residual magic from your spells forms a ward around you and protects you from harm. So really nice there. And then for our spells, I think that it's good to continue on with some more spells that are going to help protect the team. So Grease is a good one. Burning Hands is not bad too. It does 3d6 fire damage in a cone, so it can be useful for hitting up a bunch of targets. Tash's Hideous Laughter is also a nice one. Leave a target prone with laughter. But even Sleep is nice early on because you put 3 goblins to sleep. I'm going to go with Grease here. And False Life just gives you a bit of extra temporary health, which can be very useful early on in the game too. So Protection from Good and Evil works if you want because it's an abjuration spell. I don't normally pick it, but I guess I will for this one here. And then for our prepared spell, you can go with Grease or Chromatic Orb. Grease is nice just for creating difficult terrain for the enemy, but I'm going to go with the Chromatic Orb. But either of those are great choices. The Wizard is not as strong as a Sorcerer in my opinion, but it does have the versatility that makes it so useful. Now at next level we get to pick level 2 spells, and I think Scorching Ray is an essential one. This can critical hit, and it also deals quite a bit of damage. And Hold Person. What's nice about Hold Person is we're going to have a very high spell save DC and a good amount of concentration, so we won't lose concentration. So this can hold enemies still attacks within 3 meters of critical hits. Pretty nice. Now, for our prepared spells, I would say to take those 2 level 2 spells there, and we'll go with that there. And as for level 4, we get ourselves our first feat, which is nice, but we also get to pick another cantrip here. I like Mage Hand just for the extra, it's a summon, but it can take a hit for your team, but it can also throw health potions. It's a free action to drop things in this game. So you can drop a water bottle to set up a sorcerer. You can drop a healing potion to throw at someone to heal them. And as for our next level 2 spells, I think that Darkness has its usefulness. Invisibility also is pretty nice as an illusion spell to turn invisible. Flaming Spear could be good for tanking hits for your team as well, so you could go with that. And Mirror Image will increase your armor class by 3. That's a pretty good one too, so we'll go with that there. And then for our spells, we'll go with that. Now, for our feat. If you don't have the Amulet of Greater Health, you can go with the Warcaster to give advantage on saving throws to hold concentration on your spells, and you can also use Shocking Grasp as a reaction, which is awesome. But I think an ability score improvement to take our intelligence up is the best choice here. So the more intelligence we have, the more spells we can prepare, and we can also have a higher spell save DC. Now, as for our next level spells, this is when we get a big power spike. I think especially with Lightning Bolt, there is some merit in using haste, but the only thing with haste is it's better off twinned from a sorcerer. Glyph of Warding is nice too, but I'm going to go with Lightning Bolt and Fireball for just peak damage. And then we can take these off, or I guess put those on, and we'll go with something like that. You can also put Chromatic Orb, I guess, on. So we're going to go with this for our prepared spells at level 5 Wizard, 6 total level. And then at our next level here, we get our subclass feature, the Protected Ward. So when a nearby ally takes damage and you have an active ward, you can sacrifice your ward to reduce the damage they take. So furthermore, we can help protect our team, which is always nice to have that synergy. I also like to have Counterspell. You should always have Counterspell in your wizard because it's just nice to be able to stop a spell from being cast. And it's on a sorcerer, they have so much more to prepare, or so much more to deal with. So I think a Counterspell just works best here. Glyph of Warding is another great choice. I do like haste. You can take it if you want to, but I think it's better to go with other spells for this build. Now, for our next level, for our next spell, I think Counterspell works well here. You could also add in Glyph of Warding if you'd like, but at level 8, we get to choose Minor Elemental, which is huge because we can go with the ice methods, and those are really great if you have a cold build or a cold team set up. Ice Storm is also a really nice choice. Being able to create a difficult terrain for the enemies is also very effective. Confusion works pretty good. Autoluke's Resilient Sphere can block all incoming damage and spells, which is nice too for survivability. It actually makes sense to go on this build. Greater Invisibility works pretty good as well, and Ever's Black Tentacles. I'm going to go with the Minor Elemental. And Ice Storm's good just because you can upset concentrations, but Sleet Storm's another great option. Does require concentration, but you can upset enemy concentrations. Now we're going to take our Minor Elemental here. It's always good to have elementals because they take hits for your team, but they also deal a bit of damage too, so they're nice to have. And for our next leveled spell, Wall of Fire is a good choice too, just being able to crowd control with that. It's great, 5d8 fire. It's a little bit less than Fireball, but you can also move it around and create a line of fire to hit multiple people. Phantasmal Force is okay psychic damage. If you have the Resonant Stone at this point, this can be pretty decent, but otherwise, even Unanimate Dead is nice because you can have some undead enemies animated and then just take hits for the team that way. So you can go with either one of those there. I'm going to go with the Confusion because this is a pretty solid enchantment spell. You can also, if you go Band of the Mystic Scoundrel, you can cast it with that. For our feat, Intelligence increase is always nice for 20 intelligence. That'll allow us to prepare another spell as well. And at level 9 Wizard, we get ourselves level 5 spells, and this is where things come together for us. So we can get Cone of Cold and Conjure Elemental. What's nice about Conjure Elemental is the Water Elemental can set up vulnerability to cold damage, and then we can hit them with Cone of Cold or Ice Storm. So it actually gets very synergetic at this point. Now this is where we got an option. We can continue further with the Wizard, or we can go 3 levels of Fighter to get the Eldritch Knight, which gives us the ability to bind our weapon, which isn't super useful, but it does work on this build. So at level 10, we get ourselves the improved abjuration. So every time you take a short rest, the intensity of your arcane ward increases by the amount equal to your wizard level. So that's pretty nice. And we can also take something like Bone Chill because it's going to be useful in Act 3 to stop targets from healing. I think that Hold Monster works really well. If you have a Necromancer on the team, going with Cloud Kill is nice because poison damage doesn't hurt their undead. But I think Hold Monster works very well for what it does. And you can even go back into the levels and take one of the spells you didn't previously take, like Animate Dead. Cloud Kill does require concentration, but you can move it around each turn, which is pretty nice if there's targets that aren't resistant to poison damage. I also just like it greater invisibility just to have prepared, although you can learn any of these spells from scrolls. I like to have Hold Monster there. And also you can learn some of these scrolls in Act 3, like the Artistry of War, as well as Dethrone and the Summon Diva spell. The wizard can scribe those all. Now we can go with the level there's 2 choices here. If you want to get Chain Lightning or Autoluke's Freezing Sphere, we're going to want to go to level 11 Wizard, because this allows us to get level 6 spells. However, if you're fine with just using Cone of Cold as your main damage option, taking Action Surge to get 2 of those in a turn is massive. So you can go either way here. There's 2 choices. The requested build was asking to go 2 levels of Fighter and 10 levels of Wizard. I just want to show it this way because there is a few ways you can go about it. Personally, I think that taking the Wizard all the way up to the level 6 spell slots is just great, because Chain Lightning, enough said, 10d8 lightning damage. If there's water set up, that's upwards of 160 damage you can do. I am a huge fan of that. And you also got options like Circle of Death if you wanted to go with the Staff of Cherished Necromancy, although you're better off taking the Necromancer subclass. Disintegrate's good. Global Invulnerability will learn from a scroll, because this is a game winner at times. But I guess we could also take, I guess we get 2 choices here. Unluke's Freezing Sphere and Wall of Ice are 2. I also really like Wall of Ice. So 10d6 cold damage and conditional cold damage. So we're going to go with that. And then as for our prepared spells, I think it's good to go with our Chain Lightning. And then also put on just Wall of Ice there just to show what it's capable with. So the reason that we took the Fighter is that we get ourselves, so we have 2 turns of Arcane Ward there. But we have Constitution Saving Throw proficiency. So if we go into our Wizard here, we have a spell save DC of 20, which is pretty good, and our spell attack rolls is plus 17, so very nice. We get a 8 base DC, plus 5 from intelligence, plus 4 from proficiency, and then from our gear we get more. And you can also swap out your spells here at any time if you want to take something different. Looks like my spells got a little lopsided here, so I'll just put back on the ones that I want to use. So here we go. The gear that we're going to be using for this: Armor Persistence is really nice, reducing all incoming damage by 2. And we get Resistance and Blade Ward, so having physical damage and increase 1d4 to our saving throws. Hood of the Weave, plus 2 to spell save DC and spell attack roll. This is probably the best in slot for the Wizard here. Cloak Protection, Boots Protection, and Ring of Protection, just to give ourselves a 27 armor class. So this class is extremely tanky, although you may want to lower it to attract attacks. And I know there's an Abjuration build that uses Armor of Agathis, this from the Sorcerer or from the Warlock, which is really good, but yeah, this is still very powerful. I like the Snowburst ring. Whenever we deal cold damage, we create a circle of ice around the target, so you can do Cone of Cold and upset concentration on spells. However, like, even the Ring of Regeneration is a good choice. We can even go with the, as I said, Band of Mystic Scoundrel to cast our illusion or enchantment spells as a bonus action. If you really want a melee attack with your staff, I don't really recommend that, so I'm going to stick with that there. I also went with the Daredevil Gloves for +1 to spell attack rolls, and we can change our ranged weapon attacks into melee attacks so that we're much more likely to hit them early on. I also went with the Mark of Heshkir. This is the best in slot staff, although you can also go with something like the Morning Frost early game. This is incredible to use Ray of Frost with early in the game, and it also can potentially chill the target, setting up vulnerability to cold damage, which is massive. Viconia's Walking Fortress is a really great shield to have on. There's so many benefits there, so I will get into showing off the combat side of things here. As for a bow, you can go with the Dead Shot to increase your critical hit chance with like the Scorching Ray, or the bow that's going to give you a +3 to your initiative. Now, we want to summon in our summons, so we have our Conjure Minor Elemental, so Ice Methods here. These are really nice just for burst damage, because they only have 21 health, so they'll probably be taken out pretty quickly. But they got Ice Attacks that deal pure cold damage, 46, 2d8, 2d6, and then they have the Freezing Claws too. Those are really nice just for overall damage, and then we can summon in, I like the Air Myrmidon myself, that's probably my favorite. The Water Myrmidon is nice for setting up water too. But even if you want to just use a level 5 spell slot, the Water Elemental is great because when you attack with its just main attack here, so it has the Slam, it'll also create a puddle of water around the target. So if you use that, now the targets are going to be wet. So pretty useful to be able to set that up, and we can use our Arcane Ward to protect them. So there deals cold damage, and they also become chilled, vulnerable to cold damage. So that's really nice there. So typically we want to have them set up, and then what we can do is we can start off with our spells. We also have the Arcane Battery to be able to free cast anything. And we also got the Mark of Heshkir's Kreska's Favor, so we can get a free Chain Lightning or free Cone of Cold and Ice Storm. I like the Lightning one because Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning is great, but Frost of the Dark Winter is also really great, especially if you want to focus more on the cold aspects. We got Water Elementals that'll set up vulnerability. We have the Ice Methods that'll deal extra damage. And then we also got our Arcane Battery to cast a free Wall of Ice here. So Wall of Ice is an interesting one. We can cast that there. Does a ton of damage 40, 33, 40, 22, and it creates ice surfaces so people keep slipping around in it, which is so funny. And then we can also go with our Cone of Cold here to deal further ice damage, so we can just deal a ton of damage. Just going to try and project a ward on everyone there. A ton of damage. I was able to make myself fall there. That's from, if you're using the Snowburst Ring, you should probably also have the Near's boots on, because this is going to prevent you from falling. So Disintegrating Nightwalkers, that's pretty good because you can walk around the ice and not fall down. The Ice Storm here, they're all going to get hurt by it. So that's really good. We can also, I guess, shove people into the Ice Storm. It's gone now, but we also got a lot of other damage options. We also got a Fine Familiar for the Raven. I like Lightning Bolt, especially when water's set up too, because you can deal further damage with that. So, don't react. And we took out everyone with just 2 spells, so that's pretty crazy. And then we also get our Cone of Cold as a free spell cast there. So, lots of damage options on this build, which is awesome. I should have short rested to show you that you can get the extra Arcane Ward stacks. He's going to run away there, but yeah, this build is pretty strong. So, yeah, there's a few different ways you can go 3-9. I went with the 11-1 because I really like Chain Lightning and level 6 spell slots to be able to get the Airmere Madons, but that is a very powerful Eldritch Knight Nuker. If you go with the 10-2 split, you get Action Surge to be able to do 2 Cone of Colds per turn, which is pretty nice. But there it is. That is a Wizard Fighter multi-class build guide in Baldur's Gate 3. If you found this video useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.